Where is Bastila? What happened on the ship?
We ran into Malik. He would have killed us, but Bastila sacrificed herself so we could get away.
You mean she's dead?
Bah, Malik won't kill her, don't be foolish. He'll want to use her battle meditation against the Republic. Turn her to the dark side and the Sith will always be victorious.
Not so fast. We've got a bigger issue to deal with here. They deserve to know the truth about you. Do you want to tell them what Malik said, or should I?
Revan? What are you talking about? Is this some kind of a joke?
No, it's no joke. The Jedi Council captured Revan and erased the Dark Lord's mind, programming in a new identity. Saul Kareth told me on the Leviathan, and Bastila confirmed it.
You're Darth Revan? This is big. Do you remember anything about being the Dark Lord? Just a few flashes. That's it. Nothing more? Then I don't think there's a problem. It seems to me that if you don't really remember anything about being Revan, then it doesn't really matter anymore. You are who you are now, right?
Of course it still matters. How do we know more memories won't come flooding back? How do we know Revan won't suddenly turn on us? The whole time we've been chasing after Malik, we've had his old Sith master right at our side, listening to our secrets, hearing our plans.
Hey, you've got nothing to be sorry about. You didn't ask for this. Besides, I know you. You're not Revan anymore. Whatever you used to be, you're one of us now. Big Z and I will stick by you. We owe you our lives. We won't desert you now.
How can you say that, Mission? The Sith bombed my homeworld, Revan took away my family, and destroyed my life.
It was Saul Kareth who commanded the fleet that attacked your people, Karth. And it was Malik who gave the order. You know this. I have felt the presence of the dark side in you, Revan, as it is in all of us. I know the dangers of that path. Yet I also know the fallen can be redeemed. I have seen signs of the taint of the dark side in your actions and deeds. But I will not give up on you, as you did not give up on me. I will stay with you, Revan.
What about me? I already knew who you were, though it wasn't my place to tell you. Better off that you know, if you ask me. Does it change anything? I'm not here to judge you. You'll do what you have to do, and I'll help if I can.
You defeated the Mandalore clans in the war, Revan. You were the only one in the galaxy who could best us. We had never met one like you before, and never since. How can you even ask if I'll follow you? Whatever you're fighting, it will be worthy of my skill. I'm your man until the end, Revan, no matter how this plays out.
Commentary. I am experiencing something unusual, Master. Answer. My programming is activating my deleted memory core. I believe I have a homing system that is restoring it, Master. Explanation. I believe so, Master. I was unaware of my homing system until it had been activated. It seems that the homing system deliberately restores my deleted memory core upon returning to my original master. Affirmation. Correct, Master. Sith protocols maintain that all droid knowledge be deleted before assassination missions and restored upon return. I have returned to you, and my full functionality is now under your personal command. It is a distinct pleasure to see you again, Master. Commentary. I believe I have served you well in the past, Master, and will continue to do so for as long as you have need of me.
Wow. What are the chances of that happening?
Remember, we're talking about the Force here. At this point, Malak himself could drop out of the sky and I wouldn't bat an eyelash.
Good point. I knew the little guy would come through for you. Droids don't hold grudges.
Well, the others seem to trust you, and I don't see any other way that we can stop the Sith. And I suppose that Malak is the real enemy here. I really don't have any other choice, do I? Don't worry. I won't let my personal feelings get in the way of my assignments or this mission. But don't forget, I've sworn an oath to defend the Republic. As long as this mission stays on course, I'll stick with you. But I won't let you betray the Republic under any circumstances. So I guess that's it then. We keep going. We've still got one more star map to uncover if we're gonna find that Starforge and save Bastila, so let's do it before it's too late.
How can you possibly be Revan? The Jedi whose troops saved me on Taris. It was Revan, leading an army out to defeat the Mandalorians. It was you. You are nothing like the one who saved me on Taris. You are obviously not who I thought you were once upon a time. I thought you were the ideal Jedi. I thought you would never turn against us. Yet here you are. You did turn in the end. I did not want to believe it. But now, I suppose you have a chance to redeem yourself. You can work with us. For the Republic. For the Order. We can set right what you started so long ago. And I hope that what you see as necessary is what we originally set out to do. Time will tell what choices you make. I shall stay by you to see this task done. What is it you would like to speak to me about? I have been thinking much about our journey, and I am grateful and honored that you have accepted me with you. It is an honor to be by your side, and to see you redeemed from the dark path you had chosen before. We KOTOR do not make friends easily, or for long. Even on Dantooine I remained alone. Not ostracized exactly, but separate. In truth, I have lived in the Republic too long, and I know little. I never met any others of my race other than my parents. But we are not diplomats. We do not deal well with groups. This situation is new to me. It is warming. I feel almost welcome. Needed. You seem to be very decisive when it is required of you. It is reassuring to know that I can count on someone like you. Yes, and that is my point. I find it difficult to explain. It is so different from what I am used to. Just thank you for accepting me. How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan? What is it you would like to speak to me about? Well, I suppose I have not talked very much about the Jedi I met back home. They, all of them, were so very invigorating. They were so very alive, so full of hope and energy and zeal. In retrospect, I can see it was a little bit tragic. Those Jedi were going to fight the Mandalorians just after they had invaded. Many of those Jedi perished in the fighting, but to us, they seemed invincible. especially their leader, who they talked about all the time. Paragons of light and justice, sweeping away all iniquity before them. It was like looking at gods. I was merely using poetic license. Those Jedi, they were enthralling. Everyone wanted just to touch them. Some people thought it would bring them luck. Not that the peace they brought lasted very long. Of course they left. They had a war to go fight, so that we would not all be killed by those psychotic Mandalorians. The Jedi left. The people grew complacent. Those who had been wronged saw their chance at revenge. And so the cycle continues. The oppressed become the new generation of oppressors. The human oppressed, that is. The non-humans were never treated well in any case. We felt the brunt of both administrations. Yes, but humans seem the most pervasive, the most consistent. They took their frustrations and hates out on us because the people they wanted had already fled or were too well protected. But no one looks out for the injustices we suffered. Oh no, but I am sorry. I should not have outbursts like that. No, it is not. Anger can lead to the dark side, and I must be ever careful that I do not fall back into those ways. I thank you for your support. My outburst was uncalled for, but you did not lash back at me. You are a much better Jedi than I, it would seem. But let us not speak more of this now. We should continue on our journey. Perhaps later we will talk again. I have been bothered by something of late. I never told you where I came from, did I? Where I grew up as a child? I suppose I was trying to deny what I was feeling. You self-centered fool. To think that I would desire to mate with one such as you, should that even be possible. You are the center of the universe. What does it matter if my homeworld was wiped out by your actions? Who cares if it is because of you that everyone I knew as a child is dead? Taris. It was Taris that the Sith destroyed to try to kill you and your precious Bastilla. Taris, my homeworld. It was my home. If it were not for you and Bastilla, the Sith would have never had reason to destroy that world. It was your fault for being there, and your fault for rescuing Bastilla. Without your intervention, the Sith would have had no cause to lay waste to my childhood. Just let me vent my anger. I need someone to blame. Something. Anything. I hated that world. Yet everything I learned as a child, I learned there. It is as much a part of me as the air I breathe. I have this ache inside me, where all my childhood memories lay, and I find your face there with them. If it was not for you, that world would still exist. I know. I suppose I realized that. But it is so hard to lose your entire past. You would not understand. Yes, I suppose it will. As long as we remain focused on our task, it will. I am sorry. I will try not to distract you in the future with my trivial experiences. We should stop for now. I was remembering Taris. It was a horrible place to have to live. At least in the lower cities where the non-humans tended to get relegated. Living for years in a place with no sun, living off the trash dropped from the upper levels, and the meager pay doing back-breaking labor. There was always the danger of raghouls coming up from the sewers, or more mundane predators living and working in the area. My family and I struggled each and every day to make something of our lives. But we could only go so far. Taxes from the corrupt government, more fees from the gangs controlling the streets, and whatever was left paying for what food and medical supplies we could afford. It did not, but only because of the Jedi who came. It was very bad, with no money to spare for any amenities. Even the Enclave on Dantooine seems a paradise in comparison. And of course, there was the constant bigotry and hate from the more affluent and human citizens, lording their wealth over us living below. Every once in a while, a rich human would come down through the lower levels with his droid entourage just to see how the wildlife lived, and laughed at the mockeries that were our successes. But I have come to meet many decent humans in my travels since those days. Indeed, some of the greatest people I have ever met are human. The Jedi who encouraged me to join the Order, the one who was with the group going to fight the Mandalorians, she was human. I am sorry. I am getting away from my point, if there even was one. Sometimes I curse the day my parents fled to Taris, but then again, if they had not, I would not be where I am today. Another story for another time. For now, we must continue our own epic, to save the galaxy, if we can. What is it you would like to speak to me about? Well, I mentioned before that my parents had fled to Taris. Perhaps I can tell you about that. No, there were not. Having fled the birth world of my species, my parents flew as far and wide as they could. And so I was raised alone, knowing of my birthplace only the few stories my parents could tell, and seeing no other member of my species at all. It all comes back to wars and fighting. The curse of your race, it seems. In the early days of the Mandalorian War, there had been fighting closer to the Outer Rim worlds. KOTOR was there, yes. My people had a great reputation as warriors, and that appealed to the Mandalore version of honor. They sought to test themselves against us, I think. Test themselves by bombing our world, slaughtering my people while they slept or while they ran. They swooped down from space across the world, firing at anything that moved. They used ships in space to destroy all orbital facilities and bombard the surface. We did resist, and in spite of their violent attack, we did stave them off for quite a while. But in the end, we were doomed. We were not members of the Republic. KOTOR was beyond the edge of the Republic, in the Outer Rim. And besides, they could not have known. Our interstellar communications were the first things the Mandalores hit. All other short-range communicators were jammed. We were on our own. We knew what was coming. We had fought the Mandalorians in the first war against Exar Kun and the Sith. We knew there would be no mercy for us. The most we could do was pack the few of our people who survived onto what few ships remained and send them off into space as fast as they could. Most did not make it. My parents carried me as a baby with them, and were lucky enough to escape. They fled as far as they were able, and eventually settled on Taris. They could stand running no further, I think. But Taris was a horrible choice. Dominated by humans, intolerant of other species, it made everyday life unnecessarily hard. No, it is not. But they had little choice. Each of us dealt with it in our own way. My father turned to stimulants. He spent much of his time in local bars and dives. But we are warriors. It runs through our blood. And when he was on stims, he became foolish. He let his warrior nature get the best of him. So he would get intoxicated, and he would fight. And finally, one day, he would die. Killed by a man who provoked him into a fight and killed him like an animal. I am sorry. I cannot talk about this any longer right now. What is it? After my father died, my mother was left to support me alone. A single non-human woman, living in one of the worst, most violent slums on Terrace. It was not easy for her. When my father was killed, it seemed that something in her began to die as well. She worked. She worked as hard as she was able. But over time, she began to waste away. I later learned that she was unable to get enough money to feed both of us, and had to start borrowing from the exchange, a band of cutthroats and smugglers. But even that was not enough. She hid what she was doing from me. She gave most of her food to me so that I would be strong, but she herself was suffering deeply from it. In the end, she could go on no longer, and collapsed at the cantina where she worked one day. She never recovered. There was nothing really that I could do for her. She left me no money, and no doctor would see her without being paid first. I sat by her bed for days as she lay there dying. I never want that to happen to someone I care about ever again. But there was still the money she had borrowed. She had never paid it back and made no provisions for her death. You must understand. The exchange is brutal. They care nothing for the life of a sentient being. They are the major suppliers of slaves on Terrace. They thought it would be appropriate that, with my mother owing them money, the debt should be passed on to me. And with no way to pay, they took me by force. You have no idea what it is like to be bound like a beast and treated as such. It was the worst time of my life. They treated me like livestock. They were waiting for a buyer to give them some credits for me when the Jedi came to fight the Mandalorians. The Jedi could not abide by what they saw there, and drove the exchange from the face of the world, freeing those of us imprisoned there. But the Jedi soon left to fight their war, and I was left with a dream. I swore that I would become a Jedi. As soon as I had enough money to do it, I bought passage on a freighter headed for Dantooine, and we both know what has happened since then. I am grateful to you for having given me the opportunity to fulfill my dream, rather than become what I hated. Someday, I may make it up to you. But for now, let us keep on the task at hand.
Yeah, what do you want? This thing with Joggy, I don't know. Give me some time and I'll be able to sort this out on my... Is there... Working for Davik was like driving a spike through the side of your head. Sure, you got something new in there, but in the end, you've lost something as well. Beating up people who wouldn't or couldn't pay, strong-arming his competitors, killing who he said. It was busy work, nothing decent. Maybe. I've killed many people. I can't say I'm proud of it, but I have. Criminals, competitors, businessmen, police, women, children. Jedi were a better challenge. But they hardly ever poked around in the Undercity. Until you came along. But I never wanted to challenge you. Never felt the need. Maybe I knew I couldn't win. Just like all those years ago. Yeah, probably. You probably would have beaten me again. Maybe you would have. But you're not who you were back then. I can tell. You've changed. And maybe I have to. I remember a time when I could do anything I wanted. Kill, maim, murder. It was all the same to me. But now that I am older, I can look back and regret. I look back and regret all the chances I had as a warrior. And then all the chances I've had since then. I shouldn't be getting like this. Not when so many other things are happening, but... It feels like something has changed inside and I don't know what it is. This is unbecoming a warrior. Let's get on with everything before I start getting sentimental or something. Is there something else you want to know? Your choice.
Statement. HK-47 is ready to serve, Master. Commentary. That is unnecessary now, Master. I have been returned to you and my memory core is now fully functional. Statement. My functionality has now been fully restored, Master. I exist to serve Revan as your personal battle droid. In time, my assassination protocol can be restored, and at that point I will once again endeavor to eliminate any meatbag opposition you may have.
Hey there, what can I do for you? I appreciate everything. I guess we'll find out what... Hey there. It seems to me that if you don't really remember anything about being Revan, then it doesn't really matter anymore. You are who you are now, right? I don't see the Sith Lord standing here. I see a friend who's been with us through thick and thin. Remember, Malik's the one who tried to destroy Terrace.